Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. As you may know from the notice from the scrolling background, yeah, we're going to do a little bit different filming here and stuff. Today's episode is it's going to be on, well, Inalla, and we're going to look at a few Kaldhime cards that are going to be thrown in there. So, a brief description of what I do when I try to upgrade a deck. It's all going to be a bit abbreviated, kind of in response to a question that came up on, well, here on YouTube. So, with that said, let me stop goofing off and get to it. All right, so enough with the silliness. I'm back here at home in the Bag End studio. About to film about Inalla. So I keep going back to this deck, and it's one that it's not a great deck, but it's a good deck for me. It's one that I enjoy and that I play. So one of the questions that came up on one of the previous ones was what Kaldhime cards are going in there. And I've changed my ideas for how I go about building the decks and how I go about putting cards in it. It used to be I would just throw in lots of good stuff, and let it sort itself out. Then I considered myself working a little bit harder at it and actually taking either a pre-constructed deck or a net deck list or whatever and streamlining it and putting in the things that I found were more efficient, or the cards that have come along since the time the deck was maybe printed or the list was released, and finding better solutions, cards that were more efficient. And so now with Kaldhime, I'm doing a little bit, handling a little bit differently. One of the things is this deck works for me, so I don't want to make any changes that aren't 100%, I don't want to say necessary, enjoyable, effective. Those are the things that I'm looking for. I think I want the deck to be more effective. I've mentioned before that often the wins that I get with this are surprise wins. They surprise me as much as they surprise the other players at the table. Therefore, this deck is very hard to prepare to fight against. That Eminence trigger, of course, can be done from the command zone, so my commander is safe. I don't need to bring it out. And so the ETB effects that the cards give you are exceptional and all worthy and build on each other. And so those are the things that I need to keep in mind as I go through and I look for the Kaldhime cards. Here are some of the cards that I thought about putting in. A couple of these were duplicates, and I think I put one too many Bloodline Pretenders in there, so I can immediately remove one of those because that's not going in the deck. More than once I've had to DQ myself because I had multiples in the 99. That makes it sound like I do it all the time. I didn't do it all the time, but every now and then I've occasionally found that I've had multiples in there. So I either DQ myself or I'll set on a dead card in my hand and feel real guilty. I don't usually win those games either. So anyhow, because I'm distracted, I feel so bad. Anyhow, looking at the cards that, other cards that didn't make the cut, the Freezing Flame, the Giant, there's not a solid enough Giant theme. I thought at one point that I was going to kind of go with a Giant Wizard sub-theme in this Wizards deck. It being a legendary creature and having that static effect of having the overdamage going to the opponent was a good thing, but not efficient. I feel like there are other enchantment cards that would be harder to remove, so the fact that it comes in on a wizard creature, I'm not getting anything off that extra trigger, that Eminence trigger either. Having two of them in there doesn't do anything. There are other legendary cards that having two of them come into play would be good. Saw it coming. I got excited by that foretell mechanic, but do I need another counterspell in the deck? Is it replacing or more efficient than something that's already in there? I don't think so. Glimpse of the Chaos was cut from my initial excitement of putting it in the deck because, again, it just doesn't have a strong enough giant sub-theme to make it worthwhile. I think the only giant that I had in there before that was, let me scroll through here. Scroll. Look, I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling manually. How about that? That's going to be the last card I pick, right? Always is. Because I went to, and I want to thank King Cutlass for this suggestion, which was actually lay them down as a solitaire hand. Put them down and see what your bell curve looks like. Put everything that is a single mana cost card in a line. Put everything that is 2 mana, 3 mana, whatever the CMC is, all the way across there. And like you said, you should see a nice smooth bell curve. That's what you're looking for. That's what you hope. Right, it was the second card here. Ugh. Anyhow, the only giant that was in there was the Galecaster Colossus before that, so I'm not going with a sub-theme. I'm flying all over the place here because I'm trying not to waste your time and get straight to it. Yeah, lay your cards out like that. Me being very visual, I have to see this, and it helps to me visually to see where that is. So his suggestion, I think, is going to help me quite a bit. So thanks for that. I was Glimpse of Cosmos. That was not being used because there is not enough giants in here. Frostpire, Anarchist, Arcanist, Giant Wizard, costs less for wizards. You can read it right here. The spell costs 1 colorless less for giants or wizards you control. I'll have plenty of wizards on the board. But a 2/5 body, when it comes in, I can search for a card of the same name. While I'm playing Commander, I'm not going to have multiple same, so that's out of here. This is an example, like I said, of just throwing all these cards in here, seeing, I want to do this, I want to do this. This is a giant, this is a wizard, this all goes into a stack. And it doesn't always, better I stop, think about it, and look at it before I find that out in a game. Replication Ring, another fun card from Kaldhime to have. Doesn't necessarily have a place in this deck. Not Wizards, not Tribal, isn't actually going to make a difference in there. We're dumping these cards right away. So, Pyre of Heroes, on the other hand, very much a useful card. The idea of sacking a creature doesn't bother me one bit because I'm making a token that's going to be going away anyhow. It's going to be exiled if it's there at the end of the turn. Why not get some value and advantage out of it? Bloodline Pretender. The fact that it's an anthem on a creature, absolutely, yes, please, I'll have another. Basalt Ravager. This is what I'm talking about having ETB triggers that will add to the deck. This is a tribal deck, obviously, so the fact that I can have 2 of those in a single turn just based on my commander having the Eminence trigger for 5 mana, I get to do X damage twice. Good in the beginning of the game for clearing out small things, good late game to really clear things out. Epiphany, the idea of taking extra turn. The only other way, or the one other way that I have to take extra turns in this, of course, is the Time Stream Navigator that's in here. Having one that can come out, Time Stream Navigator, that comes out with an Eminence trigger and haste. Because the Eminence trigger has haste, gives me another turn. Goes back to my turn. I can now get another turn. With the Epiphany, being able to get another turn out of there, I think will help me close out games. So that's definitely going in here. Haunting Voyage. Again, it's tribal. It's maybe a little expensive. I like the idea, though, of being able to cast this one, and there's another one, the Epiphany for their Foretell cost, just to have a couple of things in my back pocket there. I'm excited to actually play with other people and see how that goes. I played a little bit with it in Arena, and having those Foretell cards on there, just a little disconcerting, a little unnerving, knowing that something, they played that card for a reason. It's going to come out. When is it going to come out? I don't work hard to play around it, but it's just always in the back of my mind what's going on. So I'm looking forward to having that in an actual game and seeing how that interaction goes. Reflections, yeah, that's definitely, again, yes, please. I would like very much to be able to double up my effects and things that come into the battlefield when they're of a chosen type. So the Tergrid's Shadow, an instant. Again, we're back to the foretell again. The idea of sacking 2 creatures. Sacking creatures doesn't scare me one bit because, again, I'm going to have to get rid of at least one of those creatures, so I'm halfway there already. Crippling Fear. I like this for token decks. Again, this is the pod. This is the core 4. This is the folks that I play with. I know like tokens. So the idea that I have that, this is a maybe thing, though. I need to actually sit down and look at my deck list and see if 4 for a -3/-3 is worth it. I like the -3/-3 as opposed to damage because there are so many other ways of preventing damage to creatures. So, yeah, I think it might be worth it. It's going to go in there. Again, being Tibalt's Apprentice, I've got to do the Trickster God's Heist. I've got to find a place for that in the deck, and I think there is a place for that. Again, the fact that my token is going to go away or be exiled at the end of the turn, I like the idea of being able to swap that creature that was highly effective for enter the battlefield for me to a player who now has it that doesn't get those triggers. And I'd like to have one of your creatures, please. Thank you. Inalla Ruinize. This is the one I was talking about then, about having a legendary that was worth it to get with an Eminence trigger so that I can scry 6 cards. I will scry 3 cards. I will then scry another 3 cards because of the both triggers. However, the legendary rule is going to kill 1, the token, of course. Not kill. There is a distinction there. The fact that the token is exiled means that I don't necessarily get that death trigger. I don't get the death trigger. Because, of course, the rest of this card reads, when Ruinize dies, draw 3 cards if 3 or more creatures died this turn. Wizards tend to be weak. I tend to plan on turning things to my advantage so that I kill multiple creatures in a turn. So maybe I'll get that trigger, maybe I won't. But the idea of scrying 6 cards, a total of 6 cards, yes, I like that a lot. So anyhow, this is just a quick video going through the thought process of what I'm going to possibly put in the deck. And we'll see what I'm going to swap out. Maybe I'll take a look at that later, and we'll talk about that when that happens. But those are the cards that will be going into the Inalla Archmage deck. Thanks for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe if you will. More content is coming. I know it's been a little sporadic at this point, but thank you to those of you that hang in there. And thanks for watching.